before he actually invaded the land of Canaan. The Meforshim point out that Yoshua's mission, the spies of Yoshua, were eminently successful, whereas the spies of Moshe were not. And therefore they looked to find definitive reasons why Yoshua's spies were more successful than Moshe's. One of the spies was the same. Caleb ben Yefuneh was the spy both times. With Caleb was Pinchas. And the Tanakh tells us how they came to Yericho and spied out the country and were about to return home when the soldiers, the immigration service noticed them, and they were in the house of Rochav, who is an enigmatic figure about whom all sorts of legends and stories later occurred. One story even being that she would later marry Yoshua. And she hides them on the roof underneath the sheaves of grain. And when the soldiers come to search, they cannot find them. And then she sends them on their way, and they make a commitment to her that if she will tie a certain cloth to the window of her home, then when the Am Yisrael comes to conquer Yericho, she and her family will be spared because of what she did for them. And then they escape, even though they are hunted by all of these soldiers. But nevertheless, they make it back to the camp, and they tell Yoshua that everything's going to be wonderful, that Kinomogu kol Yoshvei Haaretz lefanenu, they are completely demoralized. They already have given up, and that therefore we'll be successful in accomplishing taking Eretz Yisrael. So the commentators struggled. What was the difference between Moshe's spies and Yoshua's spies, especially since one of them was the same? So they advance a number of reasons, a number of ideas, all of which we should extrapolate to interpret situations in life generally. The first one is that Yoshua only sent 2, he didn't send 12. And the more you send, the more likely you are to have diverse opinions. And the more difficulty it will be to have a consensus. So Moshe sent 12, so they had different opinions. Yoshua only sent 2. Now, Kalev's opinion he knew in advance. So Kalev only went to spy out the land, not to give an opinion. Because Kalev already said, although Na'aleh, we should go up, Tova Haaretz Ma'od Ma'od. So we knew that Kalev would not advance an opinion, certainly not a negative opinion. He would only tell them facts. And since there only were 2, so the 2 concurred. And they went together. The 12 split up. Kalev went to Hebron, the others went to there. He said, Alu Zebahor. This one went to the Negev. So everybody saw a different Eretz Yisrael. No one saw the whole thing. And because of that, therefore, you had these diverse opinions which coalesced into a negative opinion. So that's one thought that all of us know, by the way, that if you want to appoint a committee, the larger the committee, the less likely it'll be successful. Because of the fact that human beings are human beings, and everybody has their own opinion. So if you send 12, so it's not likely you're going to get one opinion. If you send 2, it's much more likely to be able to do that. Second idea that the Meforshim advance is that Moshe sent the Meraglim with a public display. He gathered all of the Jewish people together, and he appointed these 12 people. He told them their mission. So it was with a great fanfare. Yoshua sent Meraglim Cheresh, it says, quietly. He didn't call a meeting of the people. He didn't tell anybody that he sent them. He didn't make a public display of sending them, which is the way to send spies, by the way. You know, the old bad joke about the Mossad that they sent Goldberg the spy to one that's on a foreign mission, and then they sent somebody that had to deliver a message to him. So the guy had he went to Buenos Aires, and then he flew to Montevideo, and then he flew back to New York, and then he went to Paris. Finally, he comes to where the guy is, and making sure that he's lost any tail, anybody that would be following him. And he comes to the house and the address, and he knocks on the door, and someone answers. So he says, I must have the wrong house. He said, no, if you want Goldberg the spy, he's on the second floor. So if that's how it works, then it was far too public. Chazal say, Ein bracha mitzuya ela b'davar shesomi mino ayin. Blessings exist only on things that are private, hidden, quiet. Now we live in a world of publicity. In such a world of publicity, we hire publicists. We hire people to make public relations. We hire people to get our picture in the paper. It's an industry. But most of the time, that turns out to be less than helpful. It doesn't really enhance the matter. Especially in areas such as being Meraglim, so it has to be cheresh, it has to be silent, quiet, hidden from public view. There's a concept here that people speak always, the Gemara itself speaks about the idea of ayin hara, that people expose themselves to other people's eyes, and many times other people look at them very negatively. So like when Moshe appointed the 12, so there are people in the audience who said, how come he didn't appoint me? Why not? I mean, why are they special? Which introduces the element of ayin hara. They looked at the people askance. They felt they weren't entitled to it. When that happened, so therefore untoward things happened, negative things happened. They were unable to rectify it, to straighten it out. Yoshua, nobody knew. Nobody saw. There was no publicity. It was quiet. And we know from history that many times the best situations certainly were those that were not known, that were not made public, that were hidden. One of the great miracles in the Second World War was that the Germans never knew where the real invasion of France would take place. They didn't think it was going to be Normandy, they thought it was going to be Calais. And that spelled the whole difference between the success. So here you have a gathering of millions of troops and an enormous amount of equipment and hundreds, if not thousands, of ships, and you have to keep it secret. And in our time, it's almost impossible for us to imagine such a thing because of the fact that nothing is secret. And if there is nothing to say, then people invent things to say, because you have to say something. So that was a second difference. The third difference that the Mefarshim point out, aside from the fact that he sent fewer in number and that he sent them secretly, the third difference was that he sent Kolev a second time. He didn't send all new people. He sent people with experience that already knew what happened if the wrong message would somehow be brought home. Moshe sent all inexperienced people. So in such a situation, everybody felt that he could say whatever he wanted to say. They had no experience as to what the result would be. Kolev had experience. He had lived through, and Kolev is not a young man here. Kolev is 85 years old now, which is pretty young. And he says in the Sefer Yoshua, Ben Chomesh Shmonim Shona Anochi Hayom, Ze Arboim Shona She'omadeti Lifnei Moshe. 40 years I stood before Moshe, first time with the Meraglim. Kochi Ato Ke Kochi Oz. My strength now is that my strength was then. And he leads the Shevet Yehuda to conquer Hebron and to make it the capital city of Shevet Yehuda, and eventually becomes the capital city for David HaMelech until he moves to Yerushalayim. So Kolev has all of this experience. There's a difference between having people with experience and people without experience. I would say that the synagogue wants to hire a rabbi that's 30 years old and has 25 years rabbinic experience. Experience comes with a price. And that was present when Yoshua sent. It was not present when Moshe sent. So these are only three ideas of the many ideas that the Mefarshim discuss of the difference between the time that Yoshua sent spies and the time that Moshe sent spies, and why one was successful and one was unfortunately unsuccessful.